Hello, welcome to Rough Cut Film Review. This is a review of Avengers Assemble, which is the UK title of the new Avengers film that came out this year, because we'll get confused between the Avengers and the other thing called Avengers. So, this is a review that it's out on Blu-ray DVD. I saw a Blu-ray copy of this, and it looked great. I saw it 2-3 times in the cinema in the summer when it came out, but I thought, as I'd seen the Blu-ray copy, it looked fantastic. I thought I'd do a review now. I'll probably do a end of year special, sort of year in review around January time for 2012. So I thought I'd get this in there so I can probably then slip it in and as a massively professional person in the year review. So here we go. So this is Avengers Assemble, is a ensemble superhero film. So we get, all Marvel's different properties chucked together into the same film. See what comes out. Now, it's actually very difficult to do this because we've got so many competing characters effectively competing for screen time against each other, and there's a real temptation just to make things as loud as possible and to jump into the action as quickly as possible, and just having things banging up against each other like Michael Bay's ridiculous robots film. So it's very easy to make it disjointed and thumping. A good example of this actually is I quite like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films. The first one and the sequel was actually a good film. I stand by that one. Sam Raimi, I'm a nerd. I love Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi. Thank you. Evil Dead, all that stuff. But he really came unstuck with Spider-Man 3 because he tried to fit too many baddies in there, and as a result, it just became a bit of a mess. So, it is actually a very, very difficult skill to put all of these different properties in there with all the different competing nerds that are inevitably going to shout at you no matter what you do. It's a really tough task. So this Avengers, this is very much a Joss Whedon film. In my review of Cabin in the Woods, I said that in the past Joss Whedon had been guilty of just being too clever for his own good, and I alluded to the fact that I think that he'd learned his lessons while making the Avengers, and I very much stick to that. So Joss had been tasked, I can't really call him Josh, we're not friends, or he has no knowledge of my existence. Joss Whedon has been tasked with putting together a massive budget blockbuster, and he succeeds in making it exciting, interesting and fun. It is just the ultimate summer blockbuster, really. It's made a ton of money. I think I'm right in saying that it's made more money than all of the composite superhero franchise films have added all together, so it's a staggering amount of money, and it's on the back of a really good popcorn flick. There's you'd expect Josh to put in some stuff about nihilism or something like that, some completely random dark Watchmen stuff in there, being very clever, but he stays away from all of that and just gives people what, if you go to Cineworld or Odeon, one of the big chains, what you'll like to see, and you'll just go and enjoy yourself. Plot wise, for what there is, there's something really powerful called the Tesseract, something like that. There's a bad guy, Loki, who was the bad guy from the Thor film, which was terrific fun, and Thor is really good fun here. And he's trying to do bad stuff, and he's got some sort of powerful, evil, otherworldly army that are going to come through this portal if he opens it, and then bad stuff is going to happen to Earth. So it's up to Nick Fury, played by Samuel L. Jackson, and he's snarling and quibbing and looking like a comic book thug. He's tasked with putting together a team of superheroes to meet the danger. So off the top of my head, we've got the Hulk, we've got Thor, we've got Iron Man, we've got then two I wasn't really familiar with. There was one with a bow and arrow, whatever his name was, and there was Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow. But throwing all this stuff in here, and Whedon really takes his time. Actually, no, he doesn't throw stuff in here. He really takes his time to introduce the characters, and it really pays off, because actually, by the time we get to the thumping action, we care about the actual characters, and that's the crucial thing. So, he really takes his time, and he's allowed to do it. It's an ensemble cast. I mean, the other thing he does as well, which I think pays off, is it would have been tempting to think, well, we've got all of these good guys together, we're going to have to make a really terrifying threat. Well, the logical thing to do there would be to take all of the corresponding bad guys from all the different franchises and put them all together. And I'm really glad they didn't do it. They kept it focused. So we've got all of these superheroes, and really there's the focus on Loki, who is absolutely fantastic, who is the baddie. So, we have, it's sort of a reversal of what most films will look like, actually. And it's fantastic. And that, all of the main protagonists are acted really well. The main characters are acted really well. And the antagonist is excellent in Loki. It's not perfect. There's imbalances in terms of tone and that sort of thing. But it's really charismatic fun. We've got lots of quibbing and riffing between the characters themselves, and a lot of the fun is to be had with the dialogue, the sort of zippy dialogue between the Avengers themselves and between Loki as well. So it's really, really good fun. So this Captain America is a bit dull, I've got to say. I mean, I've never really seen what the appeal is of him. He's pretty disinteresting. Hawkeye, it's Jeremy Renner. He's a good actor, but, he's good with a bow and arrow. That's not really... Is that a superhero? I'm not sure. But it's really good. It's really good fun. I understand that Whedon has actually signed an exclusivity deal with Marvel, which of course now is owned by Disney. So he's going to be working exclusively on Marvel properties. I think he's inevitably going to make really strong properties, and particularly after seeing what he's done with this, he's going to make really good films for them, and he's going to make them a lot of money. From a nerd's point of view, which I am, I think it's a real shame that he isn't going to then go and make a slasher B movie at some point next year between massive blockbusters, because I like him when he's, actually allowed to have his own head and do his own thing. In Avengers Assemble, and quite rightly so, he is making a blockbuster, and he is quite constrained. He doesn't go and do his own thing. He's very tight. The film is tight in that regard, and I think that's really important. For the success of this. However, I'd like to see him do other things as well. So hopefully, seeing a blockbuster like this, obviously the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy, hopefully it really underlines the fact that you can have good quality, well-written, intelligent blockbusters that sell well, people love them, and they make a ton of money. So that thing, Michael Bay or Gore Verbinski, if you're going to be given that kind of money, you have to go to the lowest common denominator. Though that's completely debunked. So it's a great film. For what it is, it's absolutely fantastic. It's not necessarily my favourite genre, but, Thor, Iron Man, all these guys, it's really good fun. And there's witty banter aplenty, and good special effects, and Scarlett Johansson. So, it's really good fun.